Hi, friends. Welcome to Direct Impact Broadcasting. The network of growth and transformation presents S.O.S For Leaders, where your host, Tywauna Wilson, will be sharing leadership and personal growth strategies. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to S.O.S For Leaders. I am your leadership mentor and host, Tywauna Wilson. If this is your first time listening to this podcast, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the tidbits that I have to offer. This show gives practical, bite-sized leadership and personal growth strategies that you can use in both your professional life as well as in your personal life. If you are a returning guest, thank you so much for continuing to listen to the show. Either way, if you could do me a really big favor and share this podcast out to your network, I would really appreciate it. The message may not be for you, but it could be for somebody who you are connected with. So thank you so much in advance for sharing this show out. You can find it on your favorite podcast platform or by going to directimpactbroadcasting.com. So let's jump into what we have to talk about today. We've been on this talk about mentoring and how to make a difference in somebody's life, what kind of qualities or traits you need to have as being a mentor. But let's talk about the ways that you can give back to the world as a mentor, the way that you can give back as a trainer, as a teacher, and, maybe you want to just impact somebody, one time or maybe ongoing. But either way, how do you know when you found that somebody who will make the perfect student, the perfect mentee, or that perfect team member that you can actually share your knowledge with? Well, you can start by looking for these simple traits to see if the person is really ready and willing to learn. Because you can have all the knowledge in the world, you can have all the experience in the world, but if the person that you are sharing it with is not ready to learn or listen or grow, then you're going to be wasting your time, they're going to be wasting their time, and it's not going to be a positive mentoring, training, teaching scenario for either of you. So when you're looking to make your impact on the world and looking for your mentee, here are some simple traits that you can look for to know if they are ready to actually learn. One, they're willing to put in the time. So look for somebody who's not looking for instant success. As the law of process says, leadership develops daily, not in a day. So you have to put in the time to grow, to learn, to be successful, to be better, to improve your leadership skills. The perfect student or a great student recognizes that there's going to be some time commitment involved in a mentoring relationship. So seek out the relationship or the person who's willing to work hard and put out some real effort at what they are doing. And this trait is really kind of easy to find. Just look for somebody who's already going that extra mile, who's looking for somebody just like you to want to offer their wisdom, their expertise, because that's going to be the person that's really going to benefit from mentoring. Not the person that's like, they are in a mentoring relationship or program because their job forced them to be in it, or their boss recommended that they do this, that they can enhance, or even the student who may not even be ready. So look for somebody that's willing to put in the time and put in the energy, because it takes energy on both parts. They know what they don't know. This is a big deal because mentorship gives you influence, access, and information. So you want to find somebody that know what they don't know. When somebody has already been doing what you wish to teach them or mentor them, they might not feel like you have anything to offer. So, and worse, they might think they know more than you do. Here they are being a know-it-all. You're trying to teach and guide and coach them, and they act like they know it all already. The most teachable individual is the one without much experience or recognizes they still have much to learn. And so that's the kind of person that you would be looking for, that would allow for a good mentoring relationship. Nobody knows it all. And that's fine. We all are here to continue to keep learning and growing and understanding that what they don't know. I'm in the lab space and I'm in the leadership space, and I have mentors in both spaces that knows way more than I do, that has traveled roads way longer and further than I have. And I am like a sponge soaking up what they have. But I also know that there are people that have not traveled as far as I have, that I can offer some great expertise. So you have to know what you don't know, and look for people that they know what they don't know, and they are open. You also, when you're looking for these mentees or somebody you're going to teach or train, that they know how to listen. Listening is important. Active listening is important. So being able to listen and being quiet and them being able to let you speak is important. And they know how to be, as I said, those active listeners, meaning they ask questions and seek out clarification when something seems confusing or they don't understand. And they're also interested in what you have to say and aren't just sitting there like tuning you out like they're not interested. So making sure that, they listen. I actually have a mentee who's in South Africa, and I know I sometimes talk very fast. And so trying to make sure that I slow down, and even still for her, she talks very fast too. And she has an accent a little bit different than my own. And so both of us have to listen to one another to make sure that we are both hearing the information that's being spoken. So make sure that when you find that mentee, that they are willing to listen. That's important, because if not, you could be giving them all this good nuggets, juicy information, and they haven't heard any of it, which means they're not going to apply anything that you're trying to help them with. When you're looking for somebody to mentor, make sure you find somebody who've already discovered other mentors. So someone eager to learn has already sought out other teachers. So this may not be their first rodeo with a mentor. They also have recognized one person can't teach them absolutely everything. And that's why they say you have mentors in various facets of your life, because one person can't teach it all to you. And it's very likely that they've had other mentors along the way and appreciate having the relationship that they've had with those individuals, which means that they value the mentoring relationship. So look for somebody that may be familiar with mentoring and understand that as well. That will lead to a successful relationship. You also want to look for somebody that's different from you. So mentoring is not about creating an army of little Coach Tees or an army of clones like yourself. It's about finding information from sources that might be outside of your range of experience. This means you want a mentee who was different from you, somewhat different from you. This gives the added assurance you have something unique to bring to the table. So it's interesting for me. Like I said, I have a mentee that's in South Africa, and although we're both women of color, our culture is very different. And so I learn as much from her as she learns from me. So I am teaching her how to navigate LinkedIn. I'm teaching her how to get her resume together and get ready for interviews. And she's teaching me some of the things that, that they do in South Africa. She's a finance major. And so it's always interesting, some of the things with education and some of the tests she has to take. And it's just interesting culturally. So sometimes when we meet via Zoom, sometimes we have to even cancel our session because the country is undergoing some kind of electrical testing for the day. So it's just interesting, some of the dynamics of things that I may take for granted that is a big deal just in how her daily life and daily way of maneuvering. And the other thing I want to talk about in this episode, when you're looking for somebody to mentor, train, or teach, is that they have something to offer. The mentoring relationship truly is a two-way street. When done right, you will come away having learned something for yourself. And the best person to mentor is someone who can teach you something, even if it's just a lesson about who you are. And like I said, with my mentee in South Africa, she teach me a lot because I'm about 10 years older than her. We both have daughters around the same age. And so she's a working mom. She works, she goes to school and, taking care of her daughter and then wanting to start a business. I'm a working mom and have a business, and it's just interesting the different things and the sacrifices that she's going through to make a way and create a legacy for her daughter. And it just makes me think, of some of the things that I take for granted, that if I had to add in some of the additional stresses that she has, that, it just makes me really appreciate life, and it appreciates those differences. So I learn something different every time that I talk with her on the Zoom and get to see her face. It's just so funny. She's such a funny mentee. But make sure they have something to offer and being able to learn from each other. So those 6 things to look for when you are looking for a mentee or somebody you're going to train or provide some guidance to. Start with these simple traits to see if they are ready for your expertise, for your knowledge, that they're, 1, willing to put the time in. 2, they know what they don't know and understand what they don't know. 3, they know how to listen. 4, they've already discovered other mentors or been in other mentoring relationships or understand how mentoring works. 5, they're different from you. And then 6, they also have something to offer. So before we wrap up, I do want to share this story with you. And it says, Scott Adams, the creator of popular Dilbert cartoon, and for some of you, Dilbert might be way too long, maybe ancient. He tells the story about his beginnings as a cartoonist. You don't have to be a person of influence to be influential. In fact, the most influential people in my life probably are not even aware of the things they've taught me. When I was trying to become a syndicated cartoonist, I sent my portfolio to one cartoon editor after another and received one rejection after another. One editor even called and suggested that I take art classes. Then Sarah Gillespie, an editor at United Media and one of the real experts in the field, called to offer me a contract. At first, I didn't believe her. I asked if I had to change my style, get a partner, or learn how to draw. But she believed I was already good enough to be a nationally syndicated cartoonist. Her confidence in me completely changed my frame of reference and altered how I thought about my own abilities. This may sound bizarre, but from the minute I got off the phone with her, I could draw better. And there's no telling what might happen if you were to begin encouraging the dreams of the people around you. And so I wanted to read that because I thought it was relevant to what I was talking about today, of finding that somebody that's willing to learn. And if you give them just your expertise, your willingness to be an influence on their life, you never know what'll happen. You get to watch them bloom. Encourage someone today, and you might get to watch them bloom tomorrow. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of SOS for Leaders. Again, please share this episode out with anybody who could benefit from listening to it, and I will touch base and check in with you on the next podcast. Until then, have an amazing day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of S.O.S For Leaders, where Tywauna shared nuggets of wisdom that you can use to win in life. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and connect on LinkedIn. And remember, the secrets of success in your life resides inside of you. When you know what your strengths are, you can utilize them to live an impactful and influential life.